When you're a star quarterback in the NFL, your job is tough enough, right? But throw in the constant shifting of your offensive coaches, and suddenly, things get a lot more complicated. Take Jalen Hurts, the reigning Super Bowl MVP and the face of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. This guy has had more offensive coordinators than most quarterbacks could ever dream of. And the number? A staggering 5 offensive coordinators in 6 seasons. Let that sink in. That's the reality Hurts is facing as he gets ready to work under his 5th offensive coordinator since entering the league. But hold on, it gets even crazier. Just last season, Hurts was under Kellen Moore, a new addition from the Los Angeles Chargers. Then, just days after Hurts led the Eagles to a Super Bowl win, Moore was out, and Kevin Patullo stepped in. Why does this matter? Well, as ESPN's Mina Kimes pointed out, this revolving door of offensive coaches is no small deal. For a quarterback like Hurts, who's coming off an MVP-caliber season, one would think stability on the coaching front would be a priority. But in the NFL, that's not always how it works. In this video, we're diving into why Hurts keeps facing coaching turnover, the high stakes involved, and what this change could mean for his career and the Eagles' future. Stick around, because trust me, this is one wild ride you won't want to miss. Let's take a step back for a second and understand the context here. Offensive coordinators in the NFL have one of the most volatile jobs. When things aren't clicking, the first person to get blamed is often the offensive coordinator. They're the scapegoat. A head coach can get another year of life by firing a coordinator or two, but for coordinators, their job is constantly on the line. For Jalen Hurts, this means that his development as a star quarterback has been directly affected by the ever-changing faces in the Eagles' offensive room. It's not easy to build chemistry and consistency when you're constantly adjusting to new philosophies, playbooks, and strategies, especially when you're coming off an MVP-like season, which makes the stakes even higher. But here's the twist. The coaching carousel isn't necessarily a bad thing. For Hurts, each new coach has brought in their own strengths. The latest addition, Kevin Patullo, is a guy who's been around for a while. He knows Hurts, the Eagles' wide receivers, and their entire offensive system. He spent the last 4 seasons as the pass game coordinator and associate head coach, which means he's already in the mix with Hurts and the team. That's a plus. But here's the catch. Patullo is also Nick Sirianni's guy. Sirianni brought him over from the Indianapolis Colts, and their bond is clear. In fact, Sirianni has said, "I can't tell you that I make a decision without saying to Kevin first, what do you think?" So, yeah, they're pretty tight. So what exactly has Hurts gone through in his career that's led to this coaching instability? Well, let's start with his rookie year. That was a time of transition in Philadelphia. Doug Peterson, the Super Bowl winning head coach, was fired, and in a rather controversial move, he pulled Hurts from a regular season finale game in favor of Nate Sudfeld, a move that some believed was an attempt to tank the game. The Eagles went into turmoil, and Hurts was thrust into the spotlight, trying to prove himself in a difficult environment. Fast forward to his second and third years, and Hurts starts to flourish under offensive coordinator Shane Steichen. In 2022, Hurts earned his first NFL All-Pro nod and led the Eagles to a Super Bowl appearance, only to fall short. That year, Hurts was a rising star, and the future looked bright. But when Steichen was hired as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, the Eagles had to make a change at offensive coordinator. In 2023, the Eagles promoted Brian Johnson, who had served as the quarterback's coach for the Eagles during Hurts's rise. But things didn't go as planned. Hurts regressed. The Eagles stumbled to an 11-6 regular season record after a scorching 10-1 start, and their playoff run was cut short In the NFC wildcard round, Johnson was shown the door. Patullo might not have the flashy resume that other coaches do, but what he brings to the table is something that Hurts knows well: familiarity. Patullo has worked closely with Hurts for years, and that continuity could be crucial to Hurts' development moving forward. Having a coach who's intimately familiar with Hurts' strengths, weaknesses, and the offense as a whole could make all the difference. And of course, Patullo's bond with Sirianni means that the Eagles' system is likely to stay consistent in terms of philosophy. But here's the big question. Is that enough? Could the Eagles have benefited from looking outside the building for a fresh perspective? According to Mina Kimes, there's a real argument for it. In fact, the addition of Kellen Moore seemed promising, but now, with Patullo taking the reins, it's clear that the Eagles are betting on internal continuity. Jalen Hurts is making a $255 million commitment to lead the Eagles. But with that kind of pressure, there's no room for error, especially when it comes to his offensive coaching. A quarterback of Hurts' caliber needs stability, and it's up to Kevin Patullo and the Eagles to provide that. The stakes couldn't be higher. Hurts and the Eagles are coming off one of the most successful seasons in recent memory. But if this coaching change doesn't work, it could all come crashing down. So, keep your eyes on Philadelphia. If this gamble with Patullo pays off, we could see Hurts continue his rise as one of the league's top quarterbacks. But if it doesn't, it could send the Eagles' offense into another cycle of uncertainty. And that's where you come in. What do you think about the Eagles' offensive shakeup? Is Kevin Patullo the right guy for the job? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more NFL updates. Stay tuned for more inside looks at the NFL's biggest storylines.